Okay, so we just got a couple of these to go. I want to emphasize how clean the badge needs to be. I'll show you an example of what happens when it's not clean. And also let you know that I'm trying to rework my procedures so that we're working on an assembly line system of so that when these are punched on my punch press, they'll come right off into a belt that will automatically count them and bag them automatically, so they don't sit around for dirt and dust to get on them. So there you go. All right, now we've got our completed jig, and I want you to notice that I can handle it pretty easily. Wood does not conduct the heat as much as the metal does, and so that means I can pick this up. Now it's very important that I handle it carefully, because if you jiggle it a little bit, it could make your tags jump out of their frame. So you don't want to do that. So, but that's how to do this. Now you could put 4 of these in, 1, 2, 3, 4, but I've stopped doing that. I did that at the beginning. I just put it in the middle, and this takes only a minute to a minute and a half to do these. So it really doesn't make a lot of sense to wait for 4 of them. You can do one at a time and prep another one while this one's cooling, and so on and so forth. All right, so here's what we're going to do. Let's do an overview of the table itself. Okay, this is a 25 SP machine made by George Knight, and why don't you go back a little ways. Okay, so what we've got is a 20-inch long, this way, by 25-inch wide. The one that we're recommending for your purchase is 16 by 20, because 2 8.5 by 14 jigs would fit nicely on that. I didn't really know. I just got the biggest one they had. So, all right, so you got a handle. This is called a swing away, and what happens is the top part, which is the business part of the machine, this is the part that gets hot, swings away and is out of your way. You can work, so it's really nice. Okay, this is an adjustment knob that adjusts for the clearance. If you unscrew it, it gives you more clearance, and if you screw it down, it gives you less clearance. And it's not really, that's very, doesn't have to be micromanaged. It's general, because I'll show you why in a second, why it's not critical to have that exactly at a certain strength. Okay, now on the back we have 2 cords. This is the air hose coming in from our air compressor, so that the air pressure works underneath the table. And this is a power cable. For this machine, it's a 220 circuit, and that's why the 16 by 20 is preferable, because it's only 110, so it can be plugged in without a 220 circuit. All right, right here is a limit switch. I want you to see this, that when you open this up, it's all ready to work. You do all your prep, and then this little limit switch right here comes around, and it's going to run into this little thing, and that's going to signal your machine that it's ready to go. Okay, now this with that out, it's ready to go. The thing won't operate unless this limit switch is pushed. So that's a safety feature. You can't start it up unless it's completely closed. All right, let's see, what else do we have? Here's power. So let's go ahead and turn this on. And do we have anything else in the back here? I don't think so. This stand is $350 for the stand, but I think it's worth it, because it really holds it steady. It's a pretty heavy machine. Now on the front, okay, first of all, we have a green light. This is the ready light. It means that I'm ready to engrave. If this, or ready to sublimate. If this light is not on, then you have to make it come on by pushing this button right here. Okay. On the side, there's 2 switches, and both of them have to be pressed to make the unit operate. That saves someone from sticking their hands down in there. Now, if there's more than one person, you have to be careful not to push these buttons when somebody's hand is under there. So now here's our timer and digital heating unit that tells us. Can you see that? Okay, so right now it's at 284 degrees. It's heating, and the timer's set for 1 minute. So we can make the timer more or less by simply pressing this button. This makes it less, this makes it more, and I'm going to leave it at 1 minute for this particular job. That's at 289, and if you press the temp key, it shows what our target is, and it flashes. We're headed for 400 degrees. And so when you toggle that temp switch, it now goes to the temperature that's showing, or that it's actually at, and the number of seconds that are set for it to be timed. So what's going to happen, let's back up here and go under here, and you got to back up slowly so it's not, okay, there you go. Now this right here is the air pressure. It's set to 70 degrees and 70 pounds. See, I can turn this knob and make it go up and down. See, and that's how you adjust the pounds. We're going to set this for 70 pounds of pressure and 400 degrees and for 1 minute. Okay, so that's how that works. Now, is there anything else we have to show you on the purpose? Oh, let's while that's warming up, let's give this an overview here. So this material is a very, very heat-resistant, flexible padding that is pretty expensive, and you probably want to replace this eventually. But see, I'm thinking that if you use jigs for everything, this thing doesn't take any abuse. You can do this jig and paper setup without using the block, which is what I did when I first got the machine. But see, that means that you can't handle these because they're 400 degrees when they get done, and so I can't handle them and take them off. I had to wait for them to cool. Whereas if you use this, you can take this off and set it aside on a table anywhere you like and do your next setup without having to wait for these to cool. Okay? So there you have it. And this material, you don't want to try to replace this with any kind of foam rubber other than the one that they send from the factory. You don't have to do it very often, especially if we're using jigs. So there you go. All right. So we'll wait for this to heat up, and then we'll show you the pressing process.